It is hump day, it is Wednesday, it is the Bubba Show. And as we like to do on Wednesday now, we kind of talk about the news of the week, especially if the news is later in the week. And this week it is all about later in the week, except for the exception of yesterday. There was IFSM services. But again, I'm from the school right now that news itself, regular published news, is really not going to affect the market. You do have the beige book, today, which if there's some major change, maybe it can affect the market. Today you've got the ADP jobs number. It can have some effect on the market, but if you've noticed, the jobs numbers of recent vintage have not had a lot of effect. But what you have to take, and this is what you want to take from the news, and then we'll talk about Friday's jobs. What you want to take from the news is when bad news does not affect the market and good news propels it. That typically tells you that the trend is in place. Okay. Now, we haven't gotten the big rallies off the good news. We haven't got the big sell-offs off the bad news. We're starting to get in that level period. That's what we're starting to turn. We're starting to turn over. And if you take a look at the charts, you will see that other than the Dow, the major indices are starting to make lower highs. Now, as I said on Monday, the markets don't announce themselves. When you start to see a little bit of a trend change, we don't know that the trend is changing here, and we don't know that we're going to go way down. I believe that we're going to have some sort of correction, and I believe that the top is in place. Now, one of the things that can really kick this market and give it the impetus to either move much higher and break out and prove me wrong, or break to the downside is Friday's jobs number. Now, we know that the Fed has tied the punch bowl to the jobs number. We know that the jobs numbers have been steadily improving here. I don't look for that to be the case. I think that that the numbers will fall in line with expectations. Now, if we miss dramatically, that's where I think is the key. If we miss dramatically, okay, or we just meet expectations, you can look for some more selling pressure. But this is a number that has the ability to drive the market, but has not really been doing so of recent vintage. That used to be. Back in the day, this used to be the granddaddy of mall, as they say, and this used to be the big number. But, there's so much strife in the job market as it is, that the number, everybody knows the number that they report is really bogus, okay? It's a bunch of hooey because it doesn't take into consideration the people that stopped looking. So the rate is basically a non-factor number. But if there is a big surprise on one side or the other, it could create some action in the market. I believe that the market has already built in all the possible good news it could possibly have here. So I think that, as we like to talk about, perfectionist pricing. So I think the only side of this number can come to the downside and to disappointment. And that's basically the news of the week. Remember, check out the Average Joe Options Call. Looking forward to seeing you there. For Wednesday, for Hump Day, the Bubba Show, we'll talk to you on Thursday.